What's going on, dudes and dudettes? So, yes, a pretty big time four-star offensive tackle has decommitted from Notre Dame, and he just automatically scheduled a visit to USC within the next couple weeks to go during a game. So, I mean, a lot of crystal balls, as they say, or projections of where this player could be going next are pointed at USC, most of them. So, hopefully, that is the correct thing. He is a West Coast guy. He is from Arizona, and he is teammates with one of the guys that USC is really going after. So I'm sure they were still in contact with him. But Notre Dame has struggled. USC is still undefeated, so we'll get into that. But yeah, hopefully that they do get this very talented dude out of Arizona. And yes, as I mentioned, USC, they did move up one spot in the rankings to number 6 overall. And that is because they did get a really well-deserved, hard-fought victory over the weekend up there in Corvallis, Oregon, beating Oregon State 17-14. It was such a awesome game, technically. If you weren't a fan of either team, it was just tough for me because it was hard to see USC struggled as much as they did and still get the victory. So I wasn't able to enjoy it in the moment, but after watching the highlights and stuff, I was able to get back on there and realize how great of a victory it was overall. And yeah, there was struggles, but they still found a way to win. And the defense just stepped up as usual, getting 4 more takeaways on the year. And as a total, they have 14 takeaways as of this through 4 games. So of course, 14 my favorite number, and obviously it's been crazy because they still haven't given up a turnover themselves. I know the running back Travis Dye fumbled the ball at like the 1 or 2 yard line, and somehow the offensive lineman for USC jumped on it, so it wasn't a lost fumble. But yeah, that could have been another play that totally ruined this game. And there's a lot of great plays, especially that last drive. I mean, there was a 4th and 6, I believe it was, and Caleb Williams decides, the quarterback, to take off for the 6 yards to get the first down. He is probably stopped a yard or 2 short, and then somehow they do like a bush push or a kind of like an offensive line drill where the offensive linemen come in and push him towards the first down, and so he's able to get it. It was looking like, because he was getting pushed back lesser yards, that they might have blown the play dead, but surprisingly they didn't. So I was very happy about that because that was on the last drive for USC. And then they've been struggling throwing the ball the whole time, and they were able to get up finally 17-14 with the pass to Jordan Addison. It was a great, unbelievable throw. It's definitely an NFL type of throw, and especially to win the game, it was very exciting. And of course, the defense stepped up, getting their 4th interception of the game thanks to Eric Gentry, the top linebacker for USC, getting a tip ball on there so his defender in the back end could intercept it. So overall, it was a great win, but yes, very tiresome and to definitely drained you if you were a fan watching it. So tough loss for Oregon State, but they are a tough team and will be in the conversation. And yes, USC is 4-0, so definitely very excited about that as of right now. But they do have an interesting game this week against Arizona State. Luckily, it's at home, and they play another interesting team in Washington State at home the following week before they go on a big road trip to Utah to play one of the other top Pac-12 teams in the Utah Utes. So that'll be definitely a big-time showdown for them on the road. And then J.J. Redick, ex-Duke player, reason why I like Duke in the first place, signed a multi-year extension deal with ESPN, so he's going to be sticking around a lot longer. I know he hadn't been doing his podcast recently, and of course he hasn't really been on ESPN because there was really no basketball news to report on, but I guess he was also getting a deal done there and got a deal done also with his podcast, like a new sponsor. So they just recently put up something new last week, so it's good to see him back on both ends. And yes, definitely looking forward to more J.J. Redick / Duke player out there. Some surprising news that apparently the Lakers were really willing to trade both first-round picks, but it was only for 2 specific players. Of course, they were trying to use those 2 future first-round picks to trade for both Kyrie Irving or Donovan Mitchell in separate trades, which I was surprised because there was never really any thought or maybe any idea that they would be trading for Donovan Mitchell from Utah. It was always kind of like his other supporting casts that they would help out in a third team trade. So I was kind of surprised with that, but that was very interesting to hear and would have been very cool if it happened. But I think Utah got back a lot better players from Cleveland anyways. So overall, it's a good thing for them. But yeah, that would have been freaking crazy to have Mitchell paired up with AD and LeBron. Would have been freaking awesome. And yes, I did not watch the Chargers game because I was driving up to my mom's place. So it was kind of good I didn't watch it because they ended up losing 38-10 to Jacksonville, of all teams that dominated them. But did also find out a bunch of injuries afterwards for the Chargers during that game. And of course, it's against a weirder, crappier team in the NFL's history that they start getting all these injuries and a lot of top guys, where I'm kind of just thinking, well, if nobody steps up in the next couple of weeks, might as well just freaking go in tank mode and try to get the best player in the draft that's going to help you out soon. I know there's a top tackle out there from Northwestern, Skoranek, I believe his name is. He's one of the top offensive linemen out there, so you need a top 6 or 7 worst record to be able to get him in the draft. But yeah, it's just not looking good because they already dealt with, Keenan Allen being out and also Justin Herbert barely playing. And even when he was in there, when I did see him before I left, it just looked horrible because he did not look like he was ready. They should have just went with Chase Daniel. But other major injuries to inform about the Chargers is Joey Bosa. He ended up going down with what Staley is calling a significant groin injury. So instead of being normal guys like day-to-day with certain injuries, he's week-to-week. So it's pretty significant if week-to-week basis you don't even know if you're going to be able to practice or play. So that's a big-time loss. I know Clay Matthews, ex-USC, Green Bay Packer guy, just interviewed saying that he hasn't fully officially retired and he's close to 100 sacks, might want to come back. So why not bring the guy back, even though he's not going to be playing for a championship team most likely, but he could get his sack totals up to 100. I think he needs like 8. So that's a spot that Bosa's playing, so might as well just give it to him, see what he can do, see what else he's got left. And then their top left tackle, Rashawn Slater, ended up going down with ruptured biceps, which sucks because they haven't officially ruled him out for the year, but most likely I've seen guys have this injury in the summer or right before the season starts and they're out for the whole season. So he's most likely going to be gone. And of course they're saying that they could make deals with other guys on practice squads that are available on other teams for a trade, or other guys who are starting, but not, we could get them and move someone else to the left tackle position if you wanted to get like another right tackle or something like that. But I don't know. I think you need to find a better replacement at left tackle because I don't think Storm Norton or Trey Pipkins can really play that position. That's why they were both relegated to the right tackle spot in the first place. But yeah, it just sucks because Slater he had a great rookie year last year and was going good so far. But yes, of course, injury bug always has to get these Chargers players, and it happened to him sadly. And then one of their deep ball down the field threats, Jalen Guyton, wide receiver, ended up having a torn ACL as well, so he's going to be out for the year. He's a guy who's maybe like 4th or 5th receiving wise, but he is a down the field play because he is a very quick guy, so you might have to get another guy to replace him as well, another speedster down the field. J.C. Jackson was once again held out of this game because of inflammation in that ankle injury that he had from that surgery. I don't know why they even made him play last week and didn't even try to practice this week, because if they would have just went on schedule and made him wait until this week coming up, he would have been able to play and probably had no inflammation. But yeah, I don't know why they rushed him back. It wasn't needed because they still ended up losing to Kansas City anyways. And then both Keenan Allen, the wide receiver, and Corey Linsley, the center, were both maybe going to practice this week. It looks like it's a positive thing towards them, but in the end, it might not be even worth it, depending if they do roll out with Herbert again or with the second string. And like I said, it's just probably better if they try to get as high as a draft pick as they can, just because it's kind of what you have to do in the NFL nowadays. But you never know. Maybe that guy might get hurt as well, knowing the Chargers' luck. And then the Lakers did sign a couple players. I think these are more of like camp invites, maybe to finally get that last roster spot filled, or maybe G League affiliate guys, but you just never know. So they signed Dwayne Bacon, who was recently with like the Hornets, but I remember him from Florida State. So he played against Duke quite a bit. He's a pretty good player, but just hasn't been able to stick on a team. And also Matt Ryan, I believe it was. Yeah, I never really heard of him. He's 6'7" wing guy, but I don't know. These guys are probably more coming in for shooting wise, so we'll see how they do. They got to shoot lights out to be able to even make this team, it looks like, but yeah, we'll see what they can do. And then Reggie Bush recently had a comment saying that the NCAA investigation into him really wasn't a full investigation, because I guess the board of trustees of the Heisman kind of heard like whatever sloppy investigation they did. They didn't really do their homework on what the NCAA looked at, and they just decided off of that news to be able, they thought it was okay for them to just take the Heisman away, and that they were right about doing it. I don't know. They should have just done their homework, been more diligent at that time, because nowadays they look into everything compared to what they did before. So if they looked at it again, I'm sure they find out it wasn't as bad as people thought, and they should give him back his Heisman, because USC is doing good. Could be another boost for the USC, alumni as well. So looking forward to that. Speaking of Justin Herbert, yes, he was the quickest in NFL history to reach 900 career completions. I think he did it within his first couple years, like passing Matt Stafford, like in his third year or something like that. So yeah, congrats to him, but still. And plus he was even being questioned after the game, like, because I guess he had came out, then went back in towards the end, and people are like, well, why'd you go back in if you had a possibility of getting hurt and worsening this injury even more? Didn't really have anything to say other than he wanted to play with his teammates and pretty much go down with the ship. Even Coach Staley was pressed about this question really hard, and once again, it's just kind of like, that, oh, well, if you were in this NFL locker room, you would know, or if you were in an NFL locker room, just because talking down to reporters as usual. But yeah, I guess we don't understand because we're not real football players. We're just, realists, I guess. And then Drake London, the ex-USC wide receiver, did pretty good this weekend. Had another 6 targets, caught 3 of them against Seattle, and ended up getting 54 yards and a touchdown. So congrats to him. I know Amon-Ra St. Brown did pretty good. I didn't get his stats and stuff, and pretty much no one else did as good for USC that I remember. It was a pretty long Sunday. Ended up traveling a bit, so didn't watch much football. And then top NBA players, according to ESPN, I believe it was, going into the 2022-2023 season. Number 6 had LeBron James. Not that surprising. I thought he'd be top 5, but at least in number 6. Jason Tatum, ex-Duke player, at number 7. It's pretty good. Nice jump from last year. Anthony Davis at number 20, the Laker. Obviously was considered a top 5 player a few years back, and now you're all the way at 20, so nowhere else to go but up and head positive. DeMar DeRozan, ex-USC guy, at number 28. It's pretty good, especially for how old he is. Kyrie Irving at number 33, ex-Duke player with the Nets. We'll see how he does. He almost got traded to the Lakers. Zion Williamson, the guy who's barely played since coming out of Duke for the Pelicans, but looks and has been talking that he's feeling 100% healthy and even more athletic and better than he did before. So looking forward to that. Russell Westbrook, a Laker as of right now, at number 65. So we'll see where he ends up. And then Paolo Banchero, the Duke rookie, ended up making this list at number 82, so he's getting a lot of respect out there right now, even as a rookie. And even a couple other USC players were mentioned in there that weren't in the pictures. Evan Mobley of Cleveland at number 36, and then Nikola Vucevic at number 57 from Chicago, also an ex-USC player. So congrats to all those guys, and yeah, looking forward to the season. Hopefully it's a positive one for the Lakers, because I know they definitely have to make a trade at some point. And then to end off with some miscellaneous news, yes, sadly, past couple of days or a week or so, Lois Fletcher, I believe she was 88, passed away. I really only remember her from One Who Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest with Jack Nicholson, that movie where she played Nurse Ratched, one of the top villains, as people would say, in movie history. Ended up winning her an Academy Award that year as well, which is pretty awesome. But yeah, we'll always remember her because I love that movie a lot. And yeah, just sucks she passed away, but it was a long-lived life, it looked like. So yes, we'll definitely miss her. And yes, it's a great movie, One Who Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, if you have not seen it. So yes, thanks for watching, people. Like and subscribe, comment down below. Let me know what y'all think. Have a great rest of your day. Bye. Fight on.